Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive.
Yeah.
This time, we're going island hopping,
Island hopping.
but not for vacation.
Right.
We're diving into how island nations are becoming these pioneers in sustainability solutions.
Yeah.
We've got all these proposals and presentations for how these island economies can transform into these resilient hubs that can just thrive in the face of climate change.
It's incredible.
And we're going to look at how they're using their natural resources to really make this happen.
Yeah, it's a fascinating shift.
If you're curious about how we can create a sustainable future,
Absolutely.
this is the episode for you.
The narrative has always been about how islands are so vulnerable.
Right.
But these proposals are flipping the script.
Yeah.
They're positioning islands to be the leaders in the global sustainability movement.
Okay, so one group that we saw
Yeah.
that popped up over and over in the research, island innovation.
Oh, yeah, island innovation.
They seem to be the go-to for crafting these island-specific strategies.
They are.
What's the deal with them?
So they're a consulting firm, and they work specifically with islands to create sustainability solutions.
Okay.
And they've got some serious clout.
Okay.
Their client list includes the Asian Development Bank
and
even Yale University.
Okay, so they're not messing around.
No, they know their stuff.
They're not some fly-by-night operation.
Exactly. And their approach is really tailored.
Okay.
They're not pushing a one-size-fits-all.
Right.
They're looking at the blue economy, at climate finance, renewable energy.
Yeah.
And they look through the lens of what makes sense for that specific island.
One of their client success stories, EnergyX,
Oh, yeah.
raised $3.775 million in funding.
It's amazing.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a sign
Uh-huh.
that people are really starting to pay attention to this.
Absolutely. There's so much growing interest.
Yeah.
But what's even more interesting is there's this common thread in the proposals.
Yeah.
For Barbados, Palau, Vanuatu. They're all kind of looking to transform themselves into these economic hubs
Interesting.
using a similar set of strategies.
Like what?
Think geothermal energy, basalt fiber production, carbon-neutral cement.
Wow. Okay.
They're leveraging the resources that are literally under their feet.
That's so cool.
It is.
So geothermal energy, I get that a lot of islands are volcanic.
Yeah.
But how are they harnessing that to power their economies?
So it's all about tapping into the Earth's heat.
Right.
Volcanic islands are basically sitting on this huge source of geothermal energy.
Oh, okay.
And Vanuatu's proposal suggests that we can use this power not just for local communities, but also to fuel industrial processes.
So they could become energy independent.
Potentially, yeah.
Wow.
And they're even looking at a specific technology called Everloop.
Everloop, what's that?
So it's a closed loop system,
Right.
which means it doesn't need access to a lot of surface water.
That's huge.
Yeah. It's a big deal for islands where fresh water can be scarce. This could be a game changer for geothermal energy in water-stressed regions.
Yeah, all over the world.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're really being strategic about the technologies that they're choosing.
Yeah.
They're picking the ones that work best for their unique situation.
Absolutely.
This applies to other areas too, like the basalt fiber production.
Oh, definitely.
They're turning volcanic rock into a valuable material.
It's almost alchemical.
What are they using it for?
Everything from construction to boat building
Wow.
to even potentially replacing steel in earthquake-resistant structures.
Oh, wow.
It's incredibly strong, it's lightweight,
Okay.
and of course it's much more eco-friendly
Right.
than a lot of traditional materials.
So are they just going to have piles of rocks laying around?
No, there's some serious economic potential here.
Okay.
Vanuatu, for example, they could become a regional supplier.
For the basalt fiber?
Exactly.
Wow.
Imagine that. They could reduce their reliance on imports and even create these new export markets.
So it's a total economic shift.
Totally.
So we've got clean energy and a new building material. What else?
How about carbon-neutral cement?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You can make cement without releasing a ton of carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
That seems impossible.
It's not magic, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
Companies like CarbonCure and Solidia Technologies are finding ways to integrate CO2 sequestration into the cement production process.
What does that mean?
Basically, they're locking that carbon away
Okay.
instead of letting it escape into the atmosphere.
So they can actually build things while reducing their impact.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And this kind of ingenuity seems to be a hallmark of these island proposals.
Right.
They're turning challenges into opportunities.
It's incredible.
It is. Yeah, it really is a fascinating shift. It's not just about mitigating harm. It's about actively trying to improve the environment
Right.
while boosting the economy at the same time.
Yeah. And you know what? It makes me think that they're really taking ownership. They're not just saying, oh, we're the victims of climate change. They're
Right.
like, no, we are going to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And speaking of solutions,
Yeah.
these proposals go beyond just energy and building materials.
They do.
They're also looking at how to make their infrastructure more climate resilient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, island nations are on the front lines of climate change.
Right.
They're dealing with rising sea levels, extreme weather events.
Yeah.
Resilience is non-negotiable for them.
Okay, so what kind of strategies are they proposing?
Well, for one, they're looking at the materials they use for construction.
Okay.
So using basalt fiber reinforced concrete for earthquake-resistant building,
Okay.
or material called e-concrete.
E-concrete.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that.
We touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
It's designed to promote marine life growth
Oh, wow.
while also protecting those coastal structures.
Yeah. So instead of seawall that's like hostile to the environment,
Exactly.
they're creating structures that actually help the ecosystem.
Right. So it's not just holding back the tide.
Yeah.
It's about working with nature.
To make the coastline stronger.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
And this concept of working with nature is central to another one of the strategies that they're exploring,
Sure.
living shorelines.
Oh, living shorelines. I've heard that term thrown around a lot.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
It's a combo of natural solutions like mangrove restoration
Okay.
with engineered infrastructure.
Nope.
The idea is to use the natural protective qualities of those ecosystems, like mangroves, to absorb the energy from the waves,
Okay.
reduce flooding, and just enhance the coastal resilience.
So instead of just building the seawalls higher, they're saying, let's work with what's already there
Yeah,
and create a more sustainable solution.
exactly. And what's interesting is that we see this approach reflected in all three of the proposals from Barbados, Palau, and Vanuatu.
So can we dive a little deeper into each of the specific proposals?
Of course.
What are some of the things that they're saying?
Well, Barbados, for example, is really focusing on modernizing their cement industry.
Okay.
They already have a cement plant,
They do.
but they're trying to make it carbon neutral
Okay.
using technologies from companies like Carbon Cure and Solidia Technologies.
It makes sense.
Right.
They've got a lot of limestone, which
Yeah.
is a key ingredient in cement.
Exactly.
You could really become a leader
Yeah,
in low carbon building materials.
absolutely. And they're not stopping there.
Okay.
They're also looking at how they can incorporate these eco-sensitive materials into their coastal and marine infrastructure.
Okay.
So using EC concrete for their breakwaters and port expansions.
It sounds like they're really thinking about how to create a more resilient future
They are.
across the board.
Yeah, it's really interesting to compare that to Palau's proposal.
Okay, what are they doing?
Well, they're also volcanic,
Right.
so geothermal energy is a big one for them too,
Okay.
but they're taking kind of a different angle.
What do you mean?
Well, they're proposing to do this extensive exploration and mapping
Okay.
to figure out where they should be putting these geothermal power plants.
Okay.
And they're really interested in that Everloop technology that we talked about.
Right, the closed loop system.
Exactly, the one that minimizes the environmental impact.
It sounds like they're really prioritizing the most sustainable option,
It seems so.
even if it's going to cost more up front.
Yeah, and they're really invested in basalt fiber production.
Okay.
They even mention specific companies like Mafic and Basaltex.
As potential partners.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're envisioning using the basalt fiber for everything.
Gotcha.
From building materials to marine construction.
They even talked about floating cities and parks.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds pretty futuristic.
It does, but it speaks to how ambitious they are. And they're willing to think outside the box.
Right.
And let's not forget about their exploration of waste-to-energy systems.
Oh, yeah, right.
They're looking at plasma gasification technology
Okay.
as a way to reduce the amount of stuff that goes to landfills
Yeah.
and generate clean energy.
So they're thinking about a circular economy.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And then you've got Vanuatu's proposal,
Mm-hmm.
which takes a fascinatingly deep dive into the concept of underground mining.
Underground mining.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about sustainability.
We are, but Vanuatu's proposal goes beyond just extracting resources.
Okay.
They're thinking about how the spaces created by the mining
Uh-huh.
could be repurposed
Oh,
for
interesting.
things like industrial storage,
Okay.
energy storage, maybe even research labs,
Wow.
or even underground eco parks.
That's a really cool idea.
So they're turning a potential liability into a long-term asset.
Right.
It's a really innovative way of thinking about the life cycle of a mining operation.
Yeah, very cool.
And of course, they're looking into geothermal energy and basalt fiber.
Right.
And specifically looking at how they can use the geothermal power to fuel those operations.
So they can be carbon neutral.
Exactly.
So it sounds like they're really taking a holistic approach.
Yeah.
They're thinking about how all these pieces fit together
They are.
to create a more resilient future.
It's like weaving a tapestry of sustainability.
Right, exactly.
They're using all these threads to create something much stronger.
And what's really cool about this is that these islands are doing this.
Right.
Despite all of their challenges.
Yeah.
With limited resources, being vulnerable to climate change.
Right.
It's almost like they're turning those challenges into advantages.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're using those unique circumstances to drive this innovation.
It's really remarkable.
It's so inspiring to see these islands taking charge like this. But it makes you wonder, why aren't more places doing this?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. Part of it might be that people just see islands as vacation spots,
Right.
not as hubs for innovation.
Right.
But these proposals are really challenging that perception.
Yeah, they're showing that sustainability isn't just about,
Yeah.
protecting these pristine beaches.
Right.
It's about creating economies that thrive and communities that are resilient.
It's about using resources wisely.
Yeah.
And finding creative solutions to these complex problems.
So what can the rest of the world learn from these islands?
For starters, these proposals show us that it's possible to move beyond just tourism and build these more diverse economies that are based on sustainable industries.
Right, because so many islands rely on tourism.
They do.
It's their main source of income.
It is.
So that's a really good lesson for other areas that are trying to break free from those traditional economic models.
It also reminds us that climate resilience isn't just about adapting.
Right.
It's about anticipating the change and coming up with solutions that will work.
Yeah.
No matter what challenges come up.
Like the living shorelines.
Exactly.
Instead of building seawalls higher and higher,
Yeah.
they're finding ways to work with nature.
Right.
To make those coastlines stronger.
It's a lesson for all coastal communities.
Yeah, no matter where they are. And we can't forget about all the cool technologies that they're exploring.
Yeah.
Things like carbon neutral cement, basalt fiber.
These have the potential to revolutionize industries around the world.
And it's not just about the technologies themselves. It's about the mindset.
Yeah.
They're seeing problems as opportunities, and they're being creative about how they can use what they have.
Exactly.
So we don't need to just copy their solutions.
Right.
We need to copy their whole approach.
Their approach to problem solving.
Exactly.
And that's where I think these proposals are the most valuable.
Okay.
They're not just showing us how to do less harm. They're showing us how to do more good.
Right. How to make a better future for everybody.
Us and the planet.
And they're proving it's possible.
Yeah.
Even when things look really tough.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought.
Okay.
What if we stopped thinking of these islands as isolated paradises and started thinking of them as blueprints for a more sustainable future?
I like that.
What if we use their innovations and their way of thinking to reimagine how we approach development and created a world where the economy can grow and the environment can thrive?
Yeah, it's not an either situation.
No.
We can do both.
Exactly.
That's a really powerful thought.
It is.
Something I think we all need to consider.
Yeah.
What stood out to you from this deep dive? What questions do you have about the future of sustainability?
Yeah, keep exploring these ideas.
And learning.
Keep questioning.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.